everyone, it is Friday, December 8th, and I'm on my way to another live sound job. And tonight I am going to be with the band High Street, and we are going to be at Goccia D'orro out in Lindenhurst. And I've been with this band before. I've been at this venue before. As a matter of fact, I've been with this band at this venue before. So what's going to make this video different than the last log that I did? Well, I don't know, we're gonna see. But I can tell you that looking back through the logs that I've done, a lot of them, basically all pretty much go the same way. And luckily, there hasn't been any kind of crazy shit that's happened on any of my jobs. A lot of the times they'll say, oh, the load-in went smooth, the band played well, or, everything went really, really great. And I don't take that kind of stuff for granted, that my nights go smoothly. I'm just happy that I'm documenting that they're going smoothly. Because quite honestly, there's a lot of things that could happen that could make your night just go like a living hell. I'm not going to say any of them because I don't want to jinx myself. But I just count my blessings every time I can go through a log and say, the night went really well and there's really nothing to speak of. Because those are the easy nights. And those are the nights that you live for and that you want. You definitely don't want the nights where, shit craps out and, shit goes sideways. So, whenever I say that the night went smoothly and really well, I definitely don't take those things for granted. So anyway, getting back to tonight, we're going to be with the band High Street. We're going to be at Goccia D'orro. Like I said, I've covered this at least once or twice already, so I don't foresee anything new going on. Just as a recap, the band mostly uses in-ear monitors except for the lead singer. She still uses a wedge. I got a call from Johnny, who plays bass, a good friend of mine. And he asked me, he said, Anthony, he goes, how do you feel about me not bringing a bass amp? And honestly, I've already done a gig where the bass player didn't bring a bass amp, and everybody was on in-ear monitors, and it went just fine. So I said, hey, listen, if you want to try no bass amp, that's fine with me. Plus the fact that at Goccia D'orro, you really got to keep your ear open, because you have to make sure that the volume doesn't get too loud, because it is a restaurant first. So, so anything to lower the volume is okay with me. And I put all the instruments through the PA anyway, that need the assistance anyway. So for me, that's fine. So if he doesn't want to bring a bass amp, that's good with me. He said he's going to leave it in his car, just in case he absolutely needs it. That's good, that's fine. But, yeah, so that's really kind of it. That's all I have to really talk about for this gig for tonight. I'm still working on editing my hits gig from last weekend. I'm just about finished with that, so that will probably drop either tomorrow or the day after. I have to watch it back first and make sure it's all okay before I post it. And that's really all. I'm just on my way there right now. It's going to take me about another 25 minutes to get there. And I will try to get some video of the load-in, but it's the same as what you've seen in previous videos. You got that ramp in the back, where you just load everything up the ramp and through the door, and then they pretty much play right there in the front of the restaurant, right when you walk in. So yeah, that's it for right now. I can't really think of anything else, but if I do, I'll shoot more. But right now, I really can't think of anything else for tonight's gig. Yeah, that's really it for tonight. Tomorrow, I'll be with the Max. We'll be at Butterfields out in Hop Hog. The Max is always a good time. They're a great band and great guys to work with, great guys and gals to work with. So looking forward to that. They're all in-ears too, so that makes the setup slightly easier because I don't have to set out wedges and run monitor cables. But anyway, that's for tomorrow's gig. We'll cover that tomorrow. But yeah, so right now I'm just on my way and shoot more video when I get there. Alrighty. so I just finished up with High Street at Goccia D'orro, and overall it was a good night. There were a lot of people there, probably more packed than I've ever seen it. I think they said there was one party there with 60 people and then another party there with 40 people. So there was definitely a packed house. There were a lot of people getting up and dancing, which is great for the band. Good exposure for the band. And all in all, it was a really good night. In the beginning was a little bit rocky. I recalled their scene like I always do. I hooked up their in-ear monitors like I always do. But for some reason, they said that the levels in their mixes were just kind of all over the place, which is a little interesting because it was just really I just recalled the scene they used last time. So, but it just goes to show you that every night is different, and you really don't know what's going to go on until you're in the mix, so to speak. But other than that, once they settled in and they got going, everything seemed to be fine. They had a really good night as far as playing wise, I think. To be honest with you, I was kind of thinking about scrapping this whole video because I didn't really get a lot of performance. I didn't really get a lot of B-roll. I didn't really get a lot of the setup. So I was really kind of just thinking about scrapping this whole video. But maybe a little bit, a lesson could be learned from the in-ears not going right in the very beginning. It kind of threw me for a loop. Because I'm just used to them just plugging in and going, and they never really have any kind of issues. And tonight they really kind of struggled in the beginning. I felt they kind of struggled in the beginning because they were having trouble hearing certain things in their in-ear monitors. So and it was just a couple people. Charlie, the piano player, he said he was okay. I just had to tweak his levels a little bit. Johnny, for some reason, Johnny the bass player, for some reason, said he couldn't hear his bass guitar in his in-ears, which was interesting because the level into my board was good, and then the send level to his in-ear monitor was good. So it's just strange that he said he couldn't hear it while Jerry, the drummer, said he could hear the bass just fine. So just a little weirdness going on in the beginning with the in-ear monitors, but like I said, we kind of sorted it out, and hopefully going forward there won't be too much of an issue. Yeah, so it just goes to show you that you never know what you're going to run into on any given night, and even when things usually go smoothly, they can go sideways pretty quickly. But I guess the one thing to pull away from all this is that if something doesn't go right, try not to get flustered, because you kind of just have to deal with it and go with the flow, and try to figure it out as best as possible. And who knows, maybe there was some kind of intermittent transmission with his in-ear monitor, that I couldn't hear. I don't know. There could have been a lot of things. The X5s, which leads me to my next comment. The X5s, they're really good for what they do. But when you get a bunch of them together, like we were running 4 of them tonight, and I really feel that when you get a bunch of them together, even though they're on separate channels, I really do think that they kind of interact and interfere with each other. They're good for what they do. They're cheap, but I really think there's something to be said for the more expensive in-ear monitoring systems. You get much better frequencies, obviously. If you get a real in-ear monitor system, you're down in the 500s, or maybe, up in the 900s. But they're definitely out of that 2.4 gigahertz range that everything else, runs on. Yeah, I mean, if you're running 1 or 2 X5s, I haven't really had trouble, but tonight, and with High Street, we run 4, and it's really not the first time we kind of ran into an issue with the X5s, but they kind of just dealt with it. Sometimes you have good nights, sometimes you have bad nights, and sometimes you just have to struggle through some stuff in the beginning, and then it kind of just levels off. Another thing, which is kind of funny, I was standing side stage, mixing them for a little while, and about 3 or 4 songs in, a guy walks up to Rich, the guitar player, and says, I can't hear the guitars. So Rich turns to me and says, what's up? So I said, well, I can hear the guitars fine. I'm standing right in front of the speaker. I can hear the guitar fine. During the break, as we were talking amongst ourselves, you know, by the drum set or whatever, some guy comes up to us, another guy comes up to us, and he goes, oh, he goes, the mix was great. He goes, I can hear everything. I'm in the back of the room. Okay, so the guy that came up to Rich in the beginning, he was basically one of the people dancing right in the middle of between the two speakers. Now, Rich keeps his amp volume very, very low. So generally, if you're in between the two speakers and you're one of the dancers and in between the two speakers, generally you're gonna just hear what's coming off of the stage, right? Because if you're dancing and you're in between the two speakers, you ain't hearing the speakers, you're hearing the sides of the speakers. And honestly, the sides of the speakers sound like dog because you're not in front of the speaker. So it just goes to show, like, you know, two people can hear very different things in different parts of the room. And you can't mix for every single part of the room, but you can mix for, you know, the majority of the room, which was, I would say, you know, I would say on any given night, I would say 20 to 30 feet, you know, in front of the performance area is where a majority of your people are going to be, right? So as you move towards the back of the room, it's obviously going to be quieter, and you may actually hear more things clearer because sound has time to develop as it hits your ear. So yeah, it was just a tale of two people and how they heard the mix, and so I guess there's a takeaway from that too. Whereas you know, you can't just go by one person's opinion, you know, because at the end of the night, the band is paying you to mix the show, and if somebody comes up to you and says, oh, you know, I can't hear something, and you can hear it perfectly clear and fine, you know, you have two options. You can either continue to mix how you hear it, which is what you're being paid for, or you could take a suggestion of somebody in the crowd that might only be their opinion, because apparently the guy in the back heard everything crystal clear. So, you know, if you start cranking the volume of the guitar just because one guy said he can't hear it, what is that going to do for the rest of your audience? You know what I'm saying? So you got to take everything with a grain of salt. Could the guitar be brought up a little bit? I'm not saying it couldn't, but you have to just, you know, consider everything before you go and make an adjustment just on one person's opinion. Anyway, I rambled on for about 10 minutes. I'm sure I'm going to wind up cutting this up, but that's pretty much it for right now. Tomorrow I'm going to be with the Max. We're going to be at Butterfield's, which is a fun gig too. The Max is a great band too. Hopefully the load in at Butterfield's will be easy. Last time we were at Butterfield's, they played in that back area of the restaurant, so we were just able to load right into the back, which was super sweet. Because otherwise you got to load in through the kitchen, and it's a little bit of a maze. But hopefully we'll be in the back, but you never know. And yep, that's pretty much it for tonight. So have a good night. Alrighty, bye.